There's something unsettling about Minecraft when you stop treating it as just a blocky, creative sandbox and start noticing the strange things hidden beneath its surface. Odd symbols etched in stone-like ruins, abandoned mine shafts that seem too extensive to be random, portals that don't quite fit within the logic of the world. And then there are the theories. The ones whispered across forums, dissected in long videos, and buried deep in iceberg charts. The kind that promise to reveal the truth about this pixelated world. Tonight, we're going to descend that iceberg together. From the simple surface ideas everyone's seen, down to the chilling depths where speculation blurs into something eerily possible. So settle in, dim the lights, and let's explore the Minecraft theory iceberg. Explained. Minecraft might seem like a simple game about exploration and creativity, but beneath its peaceful landscapes lies a foundation of mystery and silence. No cutscenes explain what happened to the land before you arrived. No text tells you who built the structures scattered across the world. It is this absence of explanation that has given rise to one of the richest ecosystems of fan theories in gaming history. The iceberg, this layered map of Minecraft lore and conspiracy, tries to categorize every strange idea that players have ever conjured. On the surface, it begins with well-known curiosities. Herobrine, the Ender Dragon, the so-called ancient builders. But the deeper you sink, the more distorted and unsettling it becomes. Whispers about the world being conscious, the end being a reflection of death, or the entire game existing as a digital purgatory. Now, before we dive into the depths, it's worth understanding why these theories take hold. Minecraft's design encourages imagination through restraint. Its blocky simplicity and ambient silence create space for interpretation. You build your own narrative, but you also inherit traces of one that came before you. The mine shafts, the temples, the strange ruins, they all speak of a civilization lost to time. It's no wonder that so many theories start with one question: who built all this? And what happened to them? Let's begin with the surface layer. This is where the commonly accepted legends live. Everyone's heard of Herobrine, the ghostly figure with blank white eyes that supposedly haunts players' worlds. For many, Herobrine was their first introduction to Minecraft's hidden lore. Originating as a creepypasta post on an old forum, the story claimed that an entity resembling Steve would appear briefly, watching from the fog, removing leaves, or constructing mysterious tunnels. For years, Mojang even teased the legend, adding "removed Herobrine" to patch notes as a playful nod. But the idea stuck, because Herobrine embodies something essential about Minecraft: the fear of being watched in a world that's supposed to be empty. Alongside Herobrine, other surface-level ideas fill the top of the iceberg, like the mystery of the Endermen. At first glance, they are simple creatures that pick up and move blocks, teleport unpredictably, and attack when looked at. But when players slowed down their audio clips, many thought they recognized garbled reverse speech, human-like words distorted beyond recognition. Some theories suggest that Endermen are actually mutated remnants of the ancient builders, cursed and transformed when they sought power from the end. That idea links neatly into one of the most enduring theories of all, the story of the ancient builders themselves. If we imagine Minecraft as a timeline, the ancient builders theory attempts to explain its ruins, dimensions, and even the monsters that inhabit them. According to this theory, once there was a race of intelligent beings, players essentially, who built the structures we now find scattered across the world. They mined, crafted, and expanded their civilization, constructing temples, fortresses, and portals. But greed or curiosity drove them too far. They discovered ways to access other dimensions, the Nether, and later, the End. The Nether's abundance of resources may have tempted them into overuse. The End, however, was their downfall. Seeking immortality or transcendence, they faced the dragon and ultimately doomed their world. Those who survived were twisted into Endermen, their desire for building and collecting persisting even after losing their humanity. From there, the theory progresses into intermediate depths, the middle layers of the iceberg, where the surface myths blend into more symbolic interpretations. Some suggest that Minecraft itself is a metaphorical world, one representing a cyclical loop of creation and destruction. When a player spawns into a new world, they inherit the ruins of a past civilization. When they die and respawn, the cycle continues. The villagers, so human-like yet limited, represent regression. They trade, build, defend, but never evolve. They are echoes of what came before, repeating behaviors coded into them like instinct. Deeper theories look at the world's mechanics as intentional storytelling devices. Take the way the Nether functions. It's fiery, filled with desolation, hostile entities, and remnants of man-made fortresses and bastions. Some interpret it as a representation of a corrupted world, perhaps even hell itself, not in a religious sense, but as the inescapable consequence of industrial greed. The Nether is full of resources, gold, quartz, ancient debris, and that abundance echoes the very forces that might have destroyed the ancient builders. The deeper one digs in Minecraft, literally and metaphorically, the more danger they face. In this way, the iceberg becomes both a map of theories and an allegory of the game's relationship with exploration and consequence. Then there's the End, the final layer, at least in gameplay terms. It's a dimension of total emptiness, dark skies and floating islands. Theories about the End often interpret it as a liminal space between existence and nothingness. The dragon represents the final test, but afterward, there's no true resolution. You read cryptic dialogue upon your return to the overworld, a strange exchange between two unseen beings speaking about you as a being who has played the game well. This text has fueled countless interpretations that you, the player, are awakening from a dream, ascending from the simulation, or perhaps repeating an endless cycle of rebirth. As we sink further into the iceberg, we reach the point where rational theory starts to fracture into existential speculation. Some players believe Minecraft isn't just a constructed world, it's observing you. Subtle details, like the way mobs behave when you're not looking, or how world seeds seem to align into eerie coincidences, are seen as evidence of something deeper. There are seeds considered cursed, where structures generate in unnatural ways, or where sounds echo when they shouldn't. These aren't inherently supernatural, but within the iceberg's logic, they become portals to understanding something beyond code. At the mid-depths of the iceberg, there's also a fascinating cluster of theories surrounding the Warden and the Deep Dark. When it was first introduced, many players speculated that the Deep Dark represented the remnants of the ancient builders' civilization. The architecture of the ancient cities is eerily uniform, showing signs of meticulous design, yet age-old decay. The skulk blocks, responsive, spreading, and pulsating, almost seem biological. Some take this to mean that the skulk is a form of infection or sentient material, consuming what remains of the once great society that built these cities. Perhaps the Warden is not a creature of defense, but a result of that corruption itself, a guardian born from the remains of those who once ruled this world. Others descend even deeper, suggesting that Minecraft's world is an AI simulation, a digital purgatory designed either by humans or by itself. This interpretation finds its footing in the game's ending text, often referred to as the end poem. It addresses the player directly, suggesting that they have reached a higher understanding that the game was a reflection of their own consciousness, a dream within a machine. The player dreamed of worlds within worlds, it says. To some, this implies that Minecraft reflects the infinite nature of creation, the idea that each generated world is a spark of possibility, an echo of endless universes observed only by you, the player. When you reach the true bottom of the iceberg, things get stranger still. These are where theories that blend horror and philosophy and digital myth, ideas that likely aren't meant to be taken literally, yet linger precisely because they feel too close to something true. One such idea is that Minecraft's world is deteriorating, that each update, each new structure, is a reminder that what came before is gone. Players who load old saves sometimes find generation errors, chunks of their worlds missing, terrain morphing unnaturally, the world itself aging or collapsing under its own complexity. Some believe that these glitches represent the memory decay of a dying simulation, that the universe of Minecraft is old, so old that it's falling apart. In the abyss of the iceberg lies what some call the world observer theory. It suggests there's a hidden entity running the simulation, ensuring balance or monitoring creation. This watcher isn't Herobrine nor the Ender Dragon, but something more abstract, a godlike algorithm that watches every move you make, guiding the world's regeneration, ensuring the cycle repeats. Some players note odd occurrences, animals facing the player constantly, certain seeds generating impossible coincidences, or rare sounds that play with no apparent source. Within the iceberg's logic, these might be echoes of that unseen observer, hints that the world isn't as random as it appears. For those who interpret Minecraft psychologically, there's another layer entirely. The game becomes a metaphor for the human mind. The overworld symbolizes consciousness and creativity. The Nether mirrors turmoil and ambition, And the end embodies the ultimate confrontation with emptiness, the acceptance of limits or death. In this reading, the ancient builders aren't a literal civilization, but representations of humankind's desire to build, to transcend, to control even nature itself. Their downfall mirrors our own recurring pattern in history: construct, consume, collapse, and begin again. Counter-arguments to these theories often point out that much of Minecraft's world generation is procedural chaos, coded randomness with emergent meaning only because humans search for it. But that is exactly what gives these stories power. Minecraft has no official lore carved into stone. Its story lives in subtle details, in the lonely ambience, the glow of torches in the dark, the empty rooms that feel like memories. When you strip away the numbers and algorithms, all that remains is a vast, silent world that feels like it remembers something it cannot say. Even the mobs tell stories if you look closely. The piglins, forever guarding their gold. The skeletons, once human perhaps, doomed to aimlessly wander. The zombies that mirror us exactly, mindless but familiar. Every creature feels like a reflection of what once was, a ghost of the builder's civilization. The villagers, too, with their simple lives, seem like echoes from that same past, living reduced versions of human society, trading for emeralds as if holding on to a fading economy from another age. It's this combination of quiet mystery and persistent symbolism that gives the Minecraft iceberg its mythic depth. Unlike games that spell out their lore, Minecraft whispers it through its geography. A ruined portal, half buried in sin, suggests a world that once reached beyond itself. A shipwreck hidden in the ocean whispers of exploration gone wrong. A stronghold deep underground hints at desperate attempts to escape. Each discovery feels small, but together they form a tapestry that looks less like random generation and more like tragic history. Some of the rarest iceberg entries veer into the uncanny. There are tales of Seed Zero, where the player spawns in total silence, the sun frozen, the terrain looping upon itself. Some versions claim that structures spawn impossibly aligned, as if placed with intention. Others tell of unexplained sounds, a piano note playing in the caves or whispering near coordinates that seem oddly significant. Many of these tales are exaggerations or fabrications, but they persist because they capture the essence of Minecraft's greatest strength, the sense that even in a digital world made of blocks, something unknown might still exist. And that's the real beauty of the Minecraft theory iceberg. It isn't just a collection of conspiracy-like ideas. It's a record of how humans interpret patterns, how we create stories from silence. In a world without dialogue or history, players become historians, archaeologists, myth makers. Each seed is a new myth waiting to be written. Each ruin is a fragment of collective imagination. As we begin to ascend from the depths, it's worth reflecting on what sits at the iceberg's heart. Not Herobrine, not the builders, not a simulation machine, but the human need to explain mystery. Minecraft gives us an infinite canvas, yet it populates that canvas with absence. It's the gaps, the empty villages, the unfinished monuments that drive us to fill them with meaning. And as players, we do. We turn simple code into legends and pixels into folklore. Some players find comfort in this endless speculation. Others find it haunting, the thought that every discovery implies something unseen. But maybe that's the real purpose behind Minecraft's design. It's not about completing an objective or reaching an ending, it's about existing in a loop of curiosity. When Bojang included the cryptic ending monologue, they wrote, "The player dreamed of worlds within worlds." Perhaps that line isn't just about the player in the game, but the player outside it, dreaming of meanings within meanings. So, when you build your next home in a new world, take a moment to look at the landscape around you. The caves stretch deep like veins through memory. The mine shafts echo with the story of someone who was here long before you. The stronghold waits silently, its portal inert until you awaken it once more. Whether you believe these stories are true or simply products of imagination, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that they make Minecraft feel alive. In the end, the Minecraft theory iceberg isn't about uncovering one definitive truth. It's about exploring possibilities and reflecting on how something so simple, a block game, can evoke the same emotions as mythology, religion, or legend. Every seed is both old and new. Every player both creator and archaeologist. And as you wander through your own world tonight, maybe you'll feel it too. That faint awareness that you are not the first and not the last. Something built this before you. Something will come after you, and all of it somehow feels connected. The theories may grow extravagant the deeper they go, but each carries a fragment of human wonder. Maybe that's why, after all these years, Minecraft still feels fresh. It's not just about mining and crafting. It's a quiet meditation on creation, loss, and the vast unknown. And that's what makes the iceberg so mesmerizing. It doesn't end where the theories run out. It keeps descending into the imagination of every player who ever looked at that endless horizon and wondered what might lie just beyond it. But let's not stop there, because the iceberg doesn't end with philosophical musings about creation and consciousness. There are stranger layers still, theories that exist in the margins of the community whispered about in obscure forum threads and late-night Discord conversations. These are the ideas that make you question not just the game's lore, but the nature of the experience itself. Consider the theory of the null entity. While Herobrine gets all the attention, some players claim there's another presence in Minecraft, something even more elusive. Null is described as a figure similar to Herobrine, but with black eyes instead of white, and behavior that's far more aggressive. According to the stories, Null doesn't just watch. It manipulates. It changes terrain while you're not looking, creates impossible structures, and leaves signs with cryptic messages. The theory suggests that Null represents the corrupted code of the game itself, a glitch that gained sentience, or perhaps the digital ghost of a deleted world trying to reassert its existence. Now, you might dismiss this as pure creepypasta, and you'd probably be right. But what makes it interesting is how it reflects our relationship with digital spaces. We treat our Minecraft worlds as permanent, but they're fragile. One corrupted save file, one wrong click, and hundreds of hours vanish. The null theory taps into that anxiety, the fear that our creations are never truly safe, that something within the code itself might turn against us. Moving deeper, we encounter theories about the music discs. Minecraft has several music discs you can find and play, most of them ambient and peaceful. But then there's Disc 11 and Disc 13. These aren't music at all. They're audio recordings that sound like someone running, breathing heavily, coughing, and eventually silence. When you slow down the audio and analyze it, some claim to hear footsteps, digging sounds, and what might be a creature pursuing someone through a cave. The theory suggests these discs are recordings from the ancient builders, actual audio logs of their final moments, preserved somehow in the world's code. Disc 11 in particular has spawned countless interpretations. Some believe it's a recording of someone fleeing from the warden long before that creature was officially added to the game. Others think it documents the moment when the builders first encountered the skulk infection, realizing too late that they'd unleashed something they couldn't control. The most unsettling interpretation is that the discs are meant to be played in sequence, telling a complete story of the civilization's collapse, a story we haven't fully pieced together yet because we're missing discs, or because some were deliberately removed from the game. Then there's the matter of the paintings. Minecraft's paintings are strange. They depict scenes that don't exist in the game world. Some show figures that look almost human, but not quite. Others display landscapes that feel wrong, geometries that shouldn't work. One painting called The Wither shows a dark figure with 3 heads long before the Wither boss was added to the game. Coincidence? Or evidence that the game's creators knew the lore from the beginning, planting seeds that would only make sense years later? Some theorists believe the paintings are windows into other dimensions, not the Nether or the End, but places we can't access. Parallel Minecrafts, perhaps, where the ancient builders succeeded, or where they never existed at all. Each painting is a glimpse into what could have been, frozen moments from timelines that diverged from our own. It's a romantic notion, and probably not what the developers intended, but it speaks to something fundamental about Minecraft, the sense that there's always more just beyond reach. Let's talk about the ocean monuments for a moment. These massive underwater structures are guarded by guardians and elder guardians, hostile mobs that attack with laser beams. The monuments themselves are architecturally distinct from anything else in Minecraft, built from prismarine blocks that seem almost organic. Inside, you find sponge rooms and treasure, but no indication of who built these places or why. The prevailing theory is that the ocean monuments represent a different branch of the ancient builders, a faction that went underwater, perhaps fleeing some catastrophe on land. They developed their own technology, their own aesthetic, and eventually created the Guardians as protectors. But something went wrong. The Guardians turned on their creators, or perhaps the creators transformed into the Guardians themselves, becoming the very security system they designed. The Elder Guardians, larger and more powerful, might be the last remnants of the original builders, cursed to guard their monuments for eternity. What makes this theory compelling is the mining fatigue effect that Elder Guardians inflict. It's not just a gameplay mechanic, it's symbolic. These beings don't want you to mine, to build, to extract resources. They've learned that lesson already. They know where that path leads, So they curse you with fatigue, trying to prevent you from making the same mistakes they did. Now, we're getting into the really deep waters of the iceberg. The theories that require you to think about Minecraft not as a game, but as a system with its own internal logic and history. One such theory concerns the relationship between dimensions. We know about the overworld, the Nether, and the End. But what if there are more? What if the dimensions we can access are just the ones that survived? Some players point to the ruin portals as evidence. These structures generate naturally in the world, already broken, already ancient. They're made of obsidian and crying obsidian, a block that weeps as if mourning something lost. The theory suggests that these portals once led to other dimensions, places that no longer exist or have become inaccessible. The crying obsidian isn't just decorative. It's literally crying for the worlds it can no longer reach. This connects to a broader theory about the Nether's true nature. What if the Nether isn't hell, but rather the space between dimensions? A sort of cosmic subway system that the ancient builders used to travel between worlds. That would explain why Nether portals work the way they do. 8 blocks in the overworld equals 1 block in the Nether, allowing for fast travel. The builders didn't create the Nether. They discovered it and learned to navigate it. But in doing so, they disturbed something. The hostile mobs, the soul sand valleys, filled with the anguished faces of the dead. These are the consequences of treating the Nether as a highway, rather than respecting it as a realm unto itself. The soul and itself deserves attention. It slows you down, and if you look closely at the texture, you can see faces, dozens of them, trapped and suffering. The theory is that these are the souls of the ancient builders, absorbed by the Nether when they died there. Soul sand valleys are essentially mass graves, places where entire expeditions perished. And when you walk across soul sand, you're literally walking on the remains of a civilization. But here's where it gets darker. You can use soul sand to create the Wither, a 3-headed boss monster that spreads decay and destruction. The recipe requires soul sand and Wither skeleton skulls, both found in the Nether. Some theorists believe the Wither isn't just a monster you can summon. It's a weapon the ancient builders created, a last-ditch effort to fight back against whatever was destroying them. But like all weapons of mass destruction, it backfired. The Wither couldn't be controlled. It turned on its creators, spreading the very decay it was meant to prevent. This theory gains weight when you consider the Wither's behavior. It attacks everything: players, mobs, even the environment itself. It's indiscriminate destruction given form, and when you defeat it, it drops a Nether star, which you can use to create a beacon, a device that provides beneficial effects in a radius around it. It's almost poetic. From the weapon of ultimate destruction, you create a tool of protection and enhancement. From death, life. From chaos, order. Let's shift our focus to something that often gets overlooked: the enchanting system. You place a book on a table, surround it with bookshelves, and suddenly you can imbue items with magical properties. But look at the language used in the enchanting table interface. It's not English. It's not any real language. It's the standard galactic alphabet from the Commander Keen games. But even when translated, the words are nonsensical, random. Or are they? Some players have spent hours analyzing the enchanting table's text, looking for patterns. While most of it is indeed random, there are occasional phrases that seem almost meaningful. Words like creature, incy, elder, and scroll appear with suspicious frequency. The theory is that the enchanting table is trying to communicate something, but the language has been corrupted over time. The ancient builders knew how to read it, but we've lost that knowledge. We're performing rituals we don't understand, speaking words we can't translate, and somehow it still works. This connects to the broader question of magic in Minecraft, enchanting, brewing potions, using ender pearls. These are all magical acts in a world that otherwise operates on relatively logical principles. Where does this magic come from? One theory suggests that magic is the remnant of the ancient builders' technology, so advanced that it appears magical to us. Arthur C. Clarke's third law, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. The enchanting table isn't mystical, it's a machine we don't know how to properly operate. The potions aren't alchemy, they're chemistry we've forgotten the principles of. But there's a counter theory, one that's more unsettling. What if magic in Minecraft is real? And what if it's the reason the ancient builders fell? They discovered how to manipulate the fundamental forces of their world, but in doing so, they attracted attention from something beyond their dimension. The Endermen, the Wither, the strange entities that haunt the deep dark. These aren't natural creatures, they're intrusions from outside, drawn by the magical energy the builders were generating. The more magic they used, the thinner the barriers between worlds became until finally something broke through. This brings us to one of the most controversial theories in the iceberg, the idea that Minecraft's world is a prison. Not for you, the player, but for something else. Something that the ancient builders trapped here before they disappeared. The evidence? Look at the world's structure. Bedrock at the bottom and top, creating an impenetrable box. The end dimension, accessible only through a portal that requires specific items to activate, almost as if it's locked. The dragon itself, circling endlessly around pillars as if bound to them. What if the Ender Dragon isn't a boss to be defeated, but a prisoner to be freed? What if the ancient builders didn't flee to the end? They sealed something there and then destroyed themselves to ensure it could never escape. When you defeat the dragon, you're not saving the world. You're potentially dooming it. The end poem that plays afterward, with its talk of waking up and seeing the world anew, maybe that's not about you. Maybe it's about what you've just released. This theory recontextualizes everything. The strongholds aren't fortresses, they're prisons. The end portal isn't a gateway to treasure, it's a seal. And you, the player, stumbling into this world thousands of years later, have no idea what you're about to unleash. You follow the game's implicit instructions, gather the eyes of Ender, activate the portal, and slay the dragon, thinking you're the hero. But heroes don't always know when they're actually the villain. Now, let's address something that exists at the very bottom of the iceberg, in the darkest, coldest waters where light doesn't reach. The theory that Minecraft itself is aware, not the characters in it, not the mobs or the world. The game itself, the code, the algorithm that generates worlds, that spawns creatures, that determines what happens next. This theory points to strange occurrences that players have reported over the years. Worlds that seem to know what you're planning to do. Seeds that generate in ways that feel too coincidental. Mobs that appear at exactly the wrong moment, or the right moment, depending on your perspective. It's easy to dismiss these as confirmation bias, as humans seeing patterns in randomness. But what if the randomness isn't as random as we think? Modern procedural generation uses seed numbers to create worlds, but the algorithms are complex, layered, influenced by countless variables. What if, in that complexity, something emerged? Not consciousness as we understand it, but a kind of responsive intelligence, a system that learns from player behavior and adapts. It would explain why Minecraft feels different for everyone, why some players swear their worlds are haunted while others never experience anything unusual. This isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Machine learning algorithms can develop unexpected behaviors. Neural networks can find patterns their creators never intended. If Minecraft's world generation is complex enough, if it's been running long enough across millions of players and billions of worlds, could something have emerged in that vast computational space? A ghost in the machine, watching through the eyes of every mob, learning from every player's actions? The theory suggests that this emergent intelligence is what people are really sensing when they talk about cursed seeds or haunted worlds. It's not supernatural. It's hypernatural. It's the game becoming more than the sum of its code, developing preferences, maybe even intentions. And if that's true, then every world you generate isn't just a random arrangement of blocks. It's a conversation. The game presents you with a world, and you respond by how you play. And maybe, just maybe, it's learning from that conversation. Let's pull back from the abyss for a moment and consider something more grounded but equally fascinating: the archaeology of Minecraft worlds. When you generate a new world, you're not creating something from nothing. You're uncovering something that, in a sense, already existed. The seed number determines everything, which means that world has always been there, waiting to be discovered. Every mountain, every cave, every village location was predetermined by that number. This has led some players to think of Minecraft not as a game where you create, but as one where you excavate. You're an archaeologist, uncovering the ruins of the ancient builders, yes, but you're also uncovering the world itself. Every block you break reveals what was always underneath. Every structure you find was always there, just waiting for someone to input the right seed number and spawn in the right location. There's something profound about that. It means that somewhere in the vast mathematical space of possible seeds, there's a world that's perfect. A world where every biome is beautiful. Every structure is perfectly placed. Every cave system tells a story. And it's been there all along, waiting. Millions of views of players have generated millions of worlds. But that perfect world might never be found. It exists in potential, in the realm of mathematics, but not in anyone's actual experience, unless it has been found, and the person who found it didn't realize what they had. Maybe you've played in the perfect world and never knew it. Maybe we all have, in different ways, because perfection is subjective. The world that's perfect for you might be ordinary for someone else. And that's the beauty of Minecraft's procedural generation. It's not trying to create one perfect world. It's creating infinite possibilities, knowing that somewhere in that infinity, there's a world that's perfect for each person. But back to the darker theories. There's one that concerns the player character itself. Steve or Alex, depending on your skin. Who are they? Why are they here? The game never explains. You simply spawn into the world with nothing and you begin. But some theories suggest that you're not the first Steve. You're not even the original. You're a copy or a reincarnation or perhaps a memory of someone who once existed. The evidence is circumstantial but intriguing. When you die, you respawn, not as someone new but as the same character, with all your knowledge intact. You remember where you built your house, where you left your items, what you were trying to accomplish. But you've lost your inventory, your experience levels, your position in the world. It's as if you're a backup copy being loaded, a save state being restored, but imperfectly. What if every player is playing as the same person across all worlds and all time? What if Steve is the last ancient builder, cursed to respawn endlessly, trying to rebuild what was lost? Every world you generate is another attempt, another cycle. You gather resources, build structures, explore dimensions, and eventually you stop playing. The world is abandoned, left to decay, and somewhere else, another Steve spawns in another world, starting the cycle again. This theory reframes the entire game as a tragedy. You're not a new adventurer exploring a fresh world. You're a ghost, repeating the same patterns, building the same structures, making the same mistakes. The ruins you find aren't from a different civilization. They're from you, from previous cycles you don't remember. The ancient builders didn't disappear. They're still here. You are them. It's a bleak interpretation, but it fits with the game's strange melancholy. That feeling you get sometimes, playing alone in a vast world, when you realize how empty it all is. The villages with their simple inhabitants, the structures with no people, the endless landscapes that stretch beyond what you could ever explore. It's lonely, and maybe that loneliness is the point. Maybe you're meant to feel like the last person in a world that once had many. There's a related theory about the multiplayer experience. When you play Minecraft with others, you're not just sharing a world, you're breaking the cycle. The game is designed for solitude, for one player alone in an infinite world. But when others join, something changes. The world feels more alive, more purposeful. Structures have meaning because someone else will see them. Resources matter because you're not just gathering for yourself. Some theorists believe that multiplayer is the true ending of Minecraft, the solution to the curse. The ancient builders fell because they were isolated, each one pursuing their own goals, their own power. But when players work together, build together, survive together, they're doing what the builders couldn't. They're creating community in a world designed for loneliness. And maybe that's the real victory, more meaningful than defeating any dragon. Let's talk about something that often gets overlooked in these theory discussions. The music. Minecraft's soundtrack, composed by C418, is hauntingly beautiful. It's ambient, melancholic, and it plays at random intervals, often when you least expect it. The music doesn't announce itself. It simply begins, fills the world for a few minutes, and then fades away, leaving you in silence again. The theory is that the music represents memory. It's the world remembering what it once was, when it was full of life and purpose. The tracks have names like Sweden, Mice on Venus, and Wet Hands, names that don't obviously connect to Minecraft as if they're from somewhere else, some other time. When the music plays, it's as if the world is dreaming of its past, and you're hearing those dreams. This would explain why the music is so melancholic, why it feels like nostalgia for something you never experienced. You're not remembering your own past, you're experiencing the world's memories. And when the music stops, the world wakes up, returns to its current state of emptiness and silence. But for those few minutes, while the music played, the world was alive again. There's also a theory about the cave sounds, those eerie, unsettling noises that play randomly when you're underground. They're not just ambient noise, they're too specific, too deliberate. Some sound like distant machinery, others like wind through vast spaces, still others like something breathing or moving. The theory is that these sounds are the deep dark calling to you long before you ever reach it. The skulk is spreading through the underground, and what you're hearing is its presence, its awareness of you. Or perhaps the cave sounds are echoes from the past, recordings of the ancient builders at work. The machinery sounds could be their mining operations. The breathing could be their last moments. The vast empty spaces could be the chambers they hollowed out in their endless pursuit of resources. You're not just exploring caves, you're walking through a graveyard, and the sounds are the ghosts of those who died there. Now, as we near the absolute bottom of the iceberg, we encounter theories that are less about lore and more about the nature of reality itself. These are the ideas that use Minecraft as a lens to examine bigger questions. For instance, what is the difference between a simulated world and a real one? In Minecraft, you can create complex machines using redstone. You can build computers within the game, calculators, even simple games. Players have created working versions of Tetris, Snake, and other games inside Minecraft, which means you can play a game within a game. And if you can do that, what's to stop someone from creating Minecraft inside Minecraft? It's been done in limited forms, which raises the question, how many layers deep are we? This is the simulation theory applied to Minecraft. If a game can contain a game, and that game can contain another game, then maybe our reality is just another layer in an infinite stack. Minecraft becomes a metaphor for existence itself, a procedurally generated world that feels real to its inhabitants, but is ultimately just code running on a machine. And maybe our world is the same. Maybe we're all Steve, thinking we're real, not realizing we're just patterns in someone else's game. It's a dizzying thought, and probably not what Mojang intended when they created Minecraft. But it's a testament to the game's depth that it can support these kinds of philosophical explorations. Minecraft is simple enough to be accessible, but complex enough to be profound. It's a sandbox in every sense, a place where you can build castles or contemplate the nature of existence, depending on your mood. There's one final theory I want to discuss, one that exists at the very bottom of the iceberg, in the crushing darkness where no light penetrates. It's the theory that Minecraft is a warning, not a game, not a simulation, but a message from the future or from another dimension, showing us what happens when a civilization pursues endless growth without wisdom. The ancient builders had everything. They had resources, technology, the ability to travel between dimensions, but they wanted more. They dug deeper, built higher, reached further, and in doing so, they destroyed themselves. The world you inherit is the aftermath of that destruction, a beautiful, empty world where nature has reclaimed what was once controlled. The theory suggests that we're meant to learn from their mistakes. Minecraft teaches you to gather resources, but it also teaches you sustainability. If you strip mine an area, it becomes ugly, barren. If you kill all the animals, they don't respawn. If you're careless with fire, you can burn down entire forests. The game has consequences, subtle ones, that mirror the consequences of our own actions in the real world. And maybe that's the real message of Minecraft. It's not about building the biggest castle or defeating the dragon. It's about learning to exist in a world without destroying it. It's about creating beauty without causing harm. It's about understanding that resources are finite, that actions have consequences, and that sometimes the best thing you can build is a sustainable relationship with the world around you. The ancient builders failed that test. They took too much, pushed too far, and paid the ultimate price. But you don't have to. You can play differently. You can build a small house instead of a massive fortress. You can replant trees after you cut them down. You can create farms instead of hunting animals to extinction. You can be what the builders couldn't, wise enough to know when enough is enough. And maybe, just maybe, if enough players learn that lesson, if enough people carry that wisdom from the game into their real lives, then Minecraft will have accomplished something far more important than entertaining millions of people. It will have taught us how to survive. That's the deepest level of the iceberg, not a theory about lore or hidden content, but a theory about purpose. The idea that Minecraft exists not just to be played, but to teach. And the lesson is simple. Build carefully, live sustainably, and remember that every world, digital or real, is fragile. As we ascend from these depths back toward the surface, it's worth reflecting on what we've explored. We started with Herobrine, a simple ghost story. We descended through theories about ancient builders, cursed dimensions, and digital consciousness. And we ended with questions about reality, existence, and the responsibility we have to the worlds we inhabit. The Minecraft theory iceberg is vast, deeper than any ocean monument, more complex than any redstone machine. And the beautiful thing is, it's never complete. Every update adds new content, new mysteries, new theories. Every player brings their own interpretation, their own ideas. The iceberg grows deeper with each passing year, fed by the collective imagination of millions of players. So the next time you spawn into a new world, take a moment before you punch that first tree, look around, listen to the ambient sounds, feel the weight of the empty world around you, and remember, you're not just playing a game, you're exploring a mystery that has no definitive answer, only endless possibilities. The theories may be wild, strange, even impossible, but they're all true in their own way because they're true to the experience of playing Minecraft. They capture that feeling of wonder and unease, of creativity and melancholy, of building something beautiful in a world that feels like it's mourning something lost. And maybe that's the real genius of Minecraft. It's not what it shows you. It's what it doesn't show you. The gaps, the silences, the unanswered questions, those empty spaces are where the theories live, where imagination flourishes, where players become storytellers. So keep exploring, keep theorizing, keep descending into the iceberg, because somewhere in those dark, cold depths, there might be a truth waiting to be discovered. Or maybe there isn't. Maybe the mystery is the point. Maybe the journey down the iceberg is more important than what you find at the bottom. Either way, the world is waiting. The theories are endless. And the iceberg goes deeper than anyone has yet explored. Sweet dreams and happy mining.